Hello, I'm the Doctor. Welcome to DoctorGeek. Today, we're discussing Series 10, Episode 10, The Eaters of Light. We open on a place called Devil's Cairn in Scotland, present day. A little girl lays in the grass with her ears to the ground, trying her best to hear the music she knows should be there. Her brother chastises her and tells her that there's ghosts in that hole that will come out and eat her. As they both begin to leave, the music begins and the girl runs back. As a crow begins to caw Doctor, we see the image of the TARDIS carved into the rocks. After the opening credits, the TARDIS materializes at the same stone cairn, but Bill proudly exclaims that they are in Aberdeen, 2nd century AD. Bill has been obsessed with the 9th Legion since she read a book on their mysterious disappearance and is determined to find out what happened to them. The Doctor tells her that they were all killed in battle, to which Bill counters that there's no pile of bodies to be found. They decide to split up, as Bill follows the river, sure that that's what the Romans would have done, and the Doctor goes to search for their last battlefield. As Bill walks through the woods, she's being watched by a mysterious creature. She comes to a young woman praying by the fire, but as soon as the woman sees her, she lets out a battle cry and charges at Bill, chasing her through the woods. After a quick run, Bill falls into a hole and finds herself in front of a real Roman soldier. After regretting the fact that she never learned Latin so she could speak with the Roman, the soldier informs her that she is speaking Latin. After a humorous exchange, Bill discovers the TARDIS's telepathic circuits. Bill and the Roman climb out of the hole, and he tells her that a monster destroyed the entire 9th Legion, and that he and his friends only escaped because they are cowards who fled instead of fighting with the rest of the Legion. At this moment, the monster attacks the soldier with its long tentacles and quickly kills him. Bill runs away, but the monster is after her as well. She climbs into a small tunnel and soon comes face to face with even more Romans. But she only has a moment to take that in before she's grabbed by the monster's tentacles. Luckily, with the help of the soldiers, she's pulled into the small space, and rocks are used to block the entrance to the cave. The Romans have been hiding in here since they deserted the Legion, and ask Bill if she's seen their friend, who was supposed to be scouting the area. Bill sadly informs them that their friend was killed by the monster, saying he was covered with a black sludge. As the soldiers begin to panic, Bill feels that some of that monster's sludge is on her neck, and she quickly passes out. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Nardole stumble onto the site of the 9th Legion's last battle, and just as the Doctor's guessed, they are all dead. Their bones have been disintegrated. Suddenly, they are surrounded by a group of barbarians who demand that they come with them. Once they arrive at the barbarians' home, they are interrogated by the leader and gatekeeper, Carr. Despite her young age and obvious inexperience, she tells the Doctor that she killed the 9th Legion, to which he is more than skeptical. After learning that the Romans have murdered the elders of the barbarians, leaving only the younger behind, the Doctor takes a bag of popcorn from Nardole and throws it onto the fire, causing enough of a diversion to make a quick escape. Nardole asks the Doctor where they're going, and he replies, "We're looking for the maximum danger in the immediate area and walking right into it." "What about Bill?" asks Nardole. "If she's there, we'll save her. If she's not, she's safe already." They arrive at the Devil's Cairn and the Doctor walks in, but before he can follow, Nardole is grabbed by the barbarians, who tell him that his friend will not be returning. Inside the cairn, the Doctor walks up to the wall as a portal opens into another dimension. As he enters the portal, the Doctor sees a spinning vortex of horrible monsters and quickly steps back out. As he leaves the cairn, he sees Nardole, now in different clothes, and telling stories to the group of barbarians. When he sees the Doctor, Nardole shows his surprise and tells the Doctor the barbarians didn't think he'd ever come back. 2 days have passed since the Doctor entered the cairn, even though it only felt like a few seconds for him. He finds Carr, who is also surprised that he has returned, and asks her what she knows about what's in the cairn. She tells him that the monsters are called Eaters of Light, and that a member of their tribe must enter every generation to do battle with the monster and keep it in its own dimension. The doctor accuses her of letting the monster out on purpose to fight the Legion, to which she replies that the monster is weak and will soon die. Suddenly, a scream is heard and they go to investigate. Another person has been attacked by the monster and it's getting stronger, feeding on the sunlight. The doctor tells Carr that she tried to save her muddy little hillside and at the same time doomed the entire world. Back in the Romans' hole, Bill is finally waking up after being passed out for, you guessed it, 2 days. The Romans have placed her in a beam of sunlight to burn off the black sludge. They haven't been able to leave since the beast is still circling them. Bill is being tended to by a man named Lucius, who flirts with her while his friend Cornelius eggs him on. Bill has to let him down and informs him that she only likes girls. He's surprised, but he tells her that Vitas, another of the soldiers, only likes men. But most of them are normal and like both genders. Bill is surprised by this and calls him modern, but he tells her that he doesn't mind that she's weird and only likes one gender because it's important to know what you like. Bill tells the Romans about the doctor and explains that he has the power to help, but these men have seen the monster in action and they know that no man has the power to stop it. Bill tells them that they shouldn't be ashamed of themselves for deserting. She tells them that they are scared, and scared is fine, scared is human, but it's not a plan. Bill decides to leave the cave, telling the men that she can't promise they won't die, but she can promise they won't die in a hole in the ground. Back with the barbarians, the doctor learns that the ancestors of them built the cairn because they couldn't stop the beast completely. Every generation, they open the portal and battle a beast to keep them at bay. They have an amber lens that they use to poison the light as the monster eats it, and the doctor tells them to make as many of them as they can. Carr tells the doctor that she's scared, but the doctor tells her she still has to fight her fight. Bill and the Romans make their way out of the tunnels and reach a ladder that the Romans say will lead to the barbarians. They ask her if she's sure that her friend the doctor will be there, to which she replies that he always becomes part of the locals, mostly by annoying them. As Cornelius impatiently rushes the ladder, the monster strikes from the shadows and begins to suck his life away. The others quickly rush up the ladder, bursting into the very room the doctor and Carr are occupying. The doctor helps Bill and the others out of the hole before shutting the door and barricading it. As the Romans and the barbarians stand off, Bill notices Nardole in his new clothes and asks what's happened to him. He replies that he's blending in with the locals and shows off a hilarious Scottish accent. The addition of Nardole this season has done wonders to the humor in Doctor Who. The Romans and the barbarians are all on edge, but using the TARDIS's telepathic circuits, Bill helps the two sides talk to each other, and they realize that they have more in common than they think. Bill asks the doctor if everyone sounds like children when you can understand everyone in the universe, and he tells her yes, but there are exceptions. The doctor tells them all that the monster will eat the sun, and then the stars, and then will keep eating until there are no stars left. But it's okay, because naturally, he's got a plan. The monster can't see very well, but it can hear, so the plan is to make a noise to lure it to the cairn, and then drive it back into the portal. Due to the time differential, every generation, a sacrifice has entered the portal to do battle with the monster. Only one monster can escape at a time, and one battle in the cairn lasts decades on the outside. That's how the tribe has managed to keep them at bay for all of these years. The doctor tells Bill that he has a better idea this time, to which Bill tells him that he never tells her that part. The doctor supposes that this is because he always gets interrupted before he gets the chance. Right on cue, the music to lure the beast starts up, much to Nardole's annoyance as he complains that it sounds worse than jazz. He leaves the cairn and after a few moments sees the monster heading straight for them. Running back inside, Nardole tells everyone to get ready, and as the monster enters the cairn, they all hit it with light from their lenses and pelt it with rocks to hold it in place until the sun rises. As the portal finally opens, the monster is forced inside and the threat is gone, but someone still needs to seal it in. The doctor now reveals the last part of his plan. He will enter the portal and guard it forever, knowing that he will not die and will just keep regenerating. Only he is capable of guarding it forever. I've been standing by the gates of your world, keeping you all safe since you crawled out of the slime. I'm not stopping now. However, much to his anger, Carr steps in at that very moment to stop him, and the other barbarians hold him back as she prepares to sacrifice herself. As the Doctor protests that she can't do it alone, the members of the 9th Legion pledge themselves as well, and together, the Legion and barbarians enter the portal to do battle forever. The amount of people entering the portal at once was too much for it to handle, and the cairn begins to crumble as the remaining barbarians and TARDIS team escape. Bill tells the Doctor that it wasn't his destiny to sacrifice himself, and they all make their way back to the TARDIS. Inside, Nardole says that they should hurry back before Missy starts to get any ideas, but suddenly, it's revealed that she's been in the TARDIS the entire time. The Doctor, it turns out, has been letting her do some maintenance on the TARDIS for him, and Nardole and Bill are not pleased, with Nardole more angry than we've ever seen him. The Doctor assures them that she's locked out of the controls and can't even leave the TARDIS without his permission, but it does little to make them feel better. Outside, we hear the music from the battle still raging in the cairn, and get a flashback to the girl from the start of the episode as she listens to the music hundreds of years later. As the episode ends, we see Missy crying as she too hears the music, and the Doctor tells her that he hopes that they can soon become friends again. "Do you really think so?" she asks him, stepping closer as he steps back. "That's the trouble with hope," he says. "It's hard to resist." So, overall I have to say that I really liked this episode. In fact, this one might be my favorite of Series 10 yet, since the Monk episodes all kind of took a hit after the storyline wrapped up. This episode was really well crafted, with a good enemy, great fleshed out side characters with detailed backstories, a gorgeous setting, and another fantastic showing by all 3 members of the TARDIS team. Rebecca Benson, who played the barbarian leader Carr, delivered a phenomenal performance, touching on a range of emotions, playing both a fierce warrior and a scared child as the story progressed. And the rest of the supporting cast was well acted as well. Nardole was on top form this episode, as he got to model an assortment of silly costumes, and his Scottish accent was one of the funniest things he's said so far. And of course, Pearl Mackie once again shines in this episode. The great thing about her character is that she always seems like she's getting smarter, learning new things every episode. She was able to figure out how the TARDIS's telepathic circuits worked almost as soon as she discovered them, and when she revealed that she knew about them at the end of the episode, the smile on the Doctor's face was one of intense pride. This episode was highly anticipated because it was the first time a writer from Classic Who was writing a new Who story. Rona Munro, who penned the last episode of Classic Who, Survival, delivered a terrific script that never once felt like it was getting stale. In fact, it had a lot of classic Doctor Who tropes in it. The Doctor and his companion get separated and meet opposite sides of a conflict. They lead their respective groups until they eventually meet back up and get the 2 sides to work together to solve a crisis. It really felt like a classic story and was just a pleasure to watch. As for what I didn't like, there's really not that much. If I had to say something, it would be that at times, the CGI looked a bit tacky. The monster, while intimidating, wasn't shown a lot because if you looked at it too close, it wasn't terribly menacing. But the look of the monster has never really been a big deal for Doctor Who, having showcased a variety of silly monsters in its 54 years. We never get an explanation as to why there was a portal to another dimension in a cairn in Scotland, but there was so much other great things going on in this episode that it really wasn't something you even dwelled on. So, in the end, I thought the story was a really fun one-off trip in the TARDIS, with great performances all around and a good enemy to get rid of. It reminded me a lot of Tooth and Claw from Series 2 for its simplicity and all-around good writing. Not every episode of Doctor Who needs to be world-changing. I've always felt Doctor Who is at its best when it goes for smaller threats and storytelling, rather than epic battles and explosions. I give the Eaters of Light 8 Romans out of 10. So, that was my review of Series 10, Episode 10. Be sure to like and subscribe for reviews and Doctor Who news every week. On the side, you can see my first video, a review of last week's episode, The Empress of Mars, as well as a video I made earlier this week about the reintroduction of the character Alpha Centauri. So be sure to check that out. and thank you for being my companion on this journey today. I'm the Doctor. Bye for now.